Went to a baptism today.
Oh yeah, you had a baptism.
Had a baptism.
Did you say hi to Jesus like I asked you to?
The Lord. He didn't remember you.
That checks out. We haven't spoken in some time.
Quite some time. Yeah, I wasn't allowed in. I actually wasn't allowed in.
Yeah, did you spontaneous burst into flames when you entered the general vicinity?
Yeah, I got real itchy. Broke out into hives.
Was it in a river?
No, we're not that. My family's not that hippie.
So was this like it in the church? They just like dunk the head?
Yeah. Well, they sprinkle it. They don't like drown the baby.
Oh, dude, I think you should drown the baby. Woo! Coming out hot, Keith.
I gotta get my thoughts together. I'm excited to talk about this film. I don't know if you want to start talking about the film or just catch up.
I am elated.
Really? Wow.
To talk about this film.
Wow.
Why don't you tell me why you're so fired up?
Because I wanted to like it. I went in wanting to be like, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna have fun and enjoy this film. And it didn't. And then I'm like, I'm just mad. I'm just mad at myself. I'm mad at Marvel. I'm mad at the expectations. I'm just mad. It just makes me angry. Just makes me angry. I want to get into it. But why are you so fired up?
Because this movie made me feel a lot of feelings. I think it fucking sucked.
I don't want to come that hard. I don't want to come that hard.
No, I know. Because there's good things.
Yeah.
And there were parts that I really enjoyed. But like, I think this movie is really bad. And I don't mean like it's not enjoyable. Like there's a lot of enjoyable parts. And there were some parts I genuinely like really liked. And there were moments that I thought like it was turning. And then it gets to that third act, which is just the most crazy, bonkers, ludicrous thing I can remember seeing in a film. Like, I just have never seen anything like that, but I don't mean that in a good way. Like, it was beyond. And I have so much to say.
Yeah.
I have so much to talk about.
Yeah, I do feel like there's a lot to talk about. I want to continue to tease things and never pay them off.
Yeah, we'll forget about this.
I know. I do want to talk about the film, the actual nuts and bolts of the film. But there needs to be a conversation around expectations, because I think Marvel, more so than anything, it's been so big and so good for so long that it's impossible. It's impossible to continue that streak. You know, like it's like we shouldn't. I feel like but also we shouldn't be surprised that I feel like things are trending downward. You know, like I think they're slipping, but it shouldn't be I don't want to say that like negatively. Like Jordan got bad too. You know, like Kobe fell off too. The greats. Like, it's impossible to maintain that level of heat and that level of success for so long. So I feel like there's a broader conversation around it.
I had a split second. I didn't even think I wanted to mention this because like it sounds so dramatic. But like I went through so many ups and downs throughout watching it, and then as I left the film, I was like, because that third act really just spun me, and I was like, this is bad. Like this is really awful. And then I kind of like tried to come back up, but then there was a moment where the thought just entered my brain. I'm not saying that this is how I feel, but I honestly thought like, is this the beginning of the end? Is this the beginning of the end of Marvel? Which I think which is not going to be a popular take. We're going to get a lot of thumbs down on this.
A lot of thumbs down.
Smash that dislike button.
Just crush that dislike button.
Because like this film is 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's what
98% audience score. So people are clearly loving it. But I want you to look inside yourselves.
Yes.
Because this is not a good film. This is not, and you cannot tell me with a straight face that this is a good film. I'm willing to argue the severity of how bad it is to like how average it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terrible.
It's
better than all these Warner Brothers movies that we talk about that we're constantly shitting on.
Yeah.
Low bar. But it's not good.
Yeah, so it's average at
I don't know
best.
why people feel like they need to say it's good. It's like this weird thing with Disney and Marvel now, and I actually do know why people think I need to say it's good, and that's also
Yeah, I think we both know why people need
not a great hot take there.
No, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that there is pressure that way, and that it's unfortunate that that comes into play. It's unfortunate because we should be able to judge things based on merit, not based on social circumstances.
Yeah.
That's a hot
Let's
take.
get into
that. Where do you want to start? We have 9
Let's
minutes
get that out of the way.
just
Let's get that out of the way.
Such a bad place to start. Okay.
Okay, we're not starting. We're teasing. We're teasing the white guys complaining about inverse racism, whatever the fuck it is. Okay, whatever. So let's start with expectations. You brought up expectations.
I love the movie.
What were your expectations, Keith?
I saw the same Rotten Tomato stuff that you did. And I texted my buddy
Before
Jeff,
you saw the movie?
Before, yeah. And I texted my buddy Jeff, who I work with. He's a good guy, and he loves Marvel too. Big shout out to Jeff.
I don't like him. I'm on record on this show. I don't like Jeff.
It is true. But he's a great guy. And I texted him when I said 98% audience, like this has got to be good. If the audience, because in this regard, I kind of value the audience more than the critical review, even though they might be kind of one and the same at this point. But if audiences are really getting behind it, like, cool. I kind of was getting excited about it. I thought that I try and stay away from trailers. I thought the trailer, I did watch this one. I thought the trailer kind of looked good. I was excited for like a martial arts, kung fu kind of Marvel take. Like, I like that main actor. I'm okay with Awkwafina. I know you're not.
Have I said that before?
To me, you have.
Oh, off the record, Keith.
Maybe privately. Sorry. Sorry. Going in, I thought it had some things. I thought it had some things going for it. And I was excited to see what they were going to do and the approach that they would take. And then was kind of disappointed.
Well, I was really high on it too. I was excited because it seemed like a very different thing that Marvel would be doing. And as I've said tens of thousands of times on this show, martial arts background, take a shot. Anytime Keith talks about suicide, or I bring up my martial arts background, or the fact that I'm half Mexican, I think you take a shot, because that's about every episode.
Yeah. By the way, I definitely want to kill myself.
Getting drunk tonight, Kev. So like, as a lover of martial arts films and martial arts cinema, like going back decades and decades, I know that martial arts isn't as cool as it was in like the late 80s, early 90s, when you had the Karate Kid and Sidekicks and Three Ninjas and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then that leading into like Jackie Chan's sort of appreciation level in the US going up, and even going back to the 70s where Bruce Lee was a huge deal and Sonny Chiba. Like, so martial arts films haven't been cool in 15 or 20 years. And I think it's such a wonderful genre of films. And I thought, wow, Marvel, the biggest of the big, is going to go in there and have this kind of martial arts film. And some of that trailer stuff, like, looks really good. And so I thought, if nothing else, and I count on Marvel films being good, right? And their baseline
they're good.
Is solid.
You
know?
Yeah.
So I thought, it's going to be solid. It's gonna have martial arts and maybe make that kind of thing cool again, bring it back into the forefront of society. I'm excited about different storytellers coming in, and the point that so many reviewers make is like, and just general people in conversation, like the representation, like getting heroes of different types, like that's awesome, and I'm jazzed about that. So going in, I had pretty high expectations. So maybe that's just another reason why if we both went in with high expectations. But I don't think so, because I think the movie's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's bad because I was expecting it to be great and it wasn't. I think I was expecting it to be pretty good, and it's not a good film.
Yeah. Here's honestly what I think, the quickest way to sum up what I think is wrong with this film. It's hollow to me. It's like one of those Easter chocolates, those big Easter bunnies, but they have nothing. It's like it would just crumble if you put any. Like, to me, that's the best way to describe it. They vaguely touch on a lot, but explain, like not that they don't explain anything, because I would argue that all they do is just explain the story. So it's there's no depth to it. There was very little depth to this film. It feels like Marvel has lost its way on sort of introducing and setting up characters. They've built this world so large and they've set these stakes so big that I feel like they feel this pressure to make everything so grand and so big that in the third act, that's when they introduce this other dimension. This other dimension with soul suckers and soul eaters is like, and then they give this half-ass little explanation with like as they walk down a corridor and they go, all right, and then that's it. Like it's just it like there's nothing behind it. There's no emotion. They don't ground that. Like that in itself should have been the whole movie if that's what we're supposed to be afraid of. Like if this big monster or whatever, not some bullshit throwaway dialogue that's just like forced in at the beginning of the third act before this epic battle. Like what? Like and this I feel like there's 15, 20 examples that are sort of just like that they just kind of like put something in front of you and go, oh, that could be cool if we took the time to sort of round that out and put some emotional stakes in it and give it some gravity and some weight and show me and don't tell me explicitly what this is. But they do it like literally 10 times where they're just like, and that, and then this, and then how about this? And that, and then it's just like, oh, what? And now we're riding a dragon. And now we're just riding a dragon at the end that we don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. And this, I feel like none of this would have happened in the beginning when they're setting this up. When they're setting up this universe with Captain America, and like things were just so small. And it was step after step after step. When they introduced Hawkeye, I'm sorry guys. But when they introduced Hawkeye, I think Hawkeye's a great example, or Black Panther, another great example. They're in other movies, and they're a small piece. And they find their way. Even Black Widow, she's in Iron Man 2. She's in Iron Man 3. Like, then she's in Captain America. And you start to, like, get to know these people.
I want one.
No.
And then they pay these characters off. Like, further down. Like, they don't just, like, shove all of this shit down your throat all at once, not giving it the time and effort it deserves. The screen time that it deserves to build this world, these characters, it's just like, yeah, it's really important. Stakes are big. You get it, right? And it bothers me. It bothers me because I think it speaks to a bigger problem. I'm sorry for the long-winded answer. Everett?
No, there's no, I think that's all right. There's no other way to really say it. Like, to a certain extent, I forgive Marvel the formula. Because I did think as I watched, I thought this is feeling very formulaic. But at a certain point, to your point you brought up earlier, like how many times can you have you can introduce a new character into this universe? I mean, 75% of comic book characters all have identical origins. You know what I mean? Like there's only so many ways you can skin a cat.
Yeah.
Even though that's not the saying, I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. But I'm inversing it. I'm making my own sayings.
Yeah. There's only so many ways.
Yeah, but the film does feel very crowded. It's like they just put like like I was laughing with Monique because she went and saw it with me in the theater, and I was like, it's like everybody, especially in that third act, my God. But it's like the writer's room was all like caffeinated up and maybe railed a couple of lines.
Get out of here, Dewey.
What are y'all doing in here?
It's called cocaine, and you don't want no part of this shit.
Cocaine?
And we're just like, every idea, yes, put that in, yes, that's great, yes, big dragon comes out, yes, oh, there's water tentacles, yes, oh, now she's riding it, like, like there's just no rhyme or reason, and it's just, the thing is, it's not necessary. So as I watched this film, I thought, there's so much, like, the beginning was a little rough, and I didn't think the dialogue was that good throughout, so it was always kind of under the gun for me, a little behind the 8 ball. But the part that really got me excited was that bus fight, that fight on the Muni. I thought that scene was awesome. That's like straight out of with all the special effects. I have some complaints about that too. But just in terms of like a cool fight scene where the hero reveals that he's a dope fighter and it's not exactly grounded because it goes off the rails, literally, pun intended.
I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to.
But like, it was exciting because I thought, oh, it's a little more intimate. For a minute at the beginning of the fight, it was grounded until what's his name came out with his CGI blade on his hand. And so I like, why can't a film, like, you know, it even Black Widow had this problem where it's like it starts where you think it's going to be kind of this isolated, smaller, realer story. Like, why can't you just be brave, Marvel, and do one like that? Like, follow that through the movie. A small, intimate, personal story where he's just beating people up, getting back to his dad, whatever. But then you got to be like, what we need is like the most fantastical shit that's ever been in a comic book film.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
There's no reason for it. You're hitting the nail solely on the head. It felt like tease this magical land. Let that be something else. Or come in hot into this world and explain it fully and let us live there and breathe there. Like, let that where the film lives and like let it be that. But it starts out as this like really like grounded, again, as Marvel can be, as grounded as Marvel can be, this like intimate film about this guy and his life, and like, let this be small. Let this be the opposite of Infinity War. And like that's okay because we're getting to know this character. We're getting to know, Marvel's job is to make us fall in love with this person. I know nothing about this character. And like, I'm not a huge, comic book person or whatever, but I bet most people don't know. I bet people don't know. So let me fall in love with this character, this person. Let me just see how cool and awesome of a fighter he is. Stick to that kung fu fighter genre, like lean into that stuff and just have this small story be told. And I think you're right, they can't help themselves. They just can't get out of their own way in that sense. And that's what makes me feel like they're losing touch with kind of what made them great.
Well, it's like, I just, to our point that we've probably beat to death, like you just can't keep, like, it's almost more fantastical at this point to strip it down to a simple, great story than it is to keep trying to one-up yourself with this crazy skybeam, dragon, animal climax of CGI bullshit when it's just like, this would be a great opportunity to have this small personal story with these dope fights, and then you're just like, throughout the film, you're teasing the mysterious power of these rings. Where it's like, maybe you don't even completely understand what they're capable of, which I would argue the fucking filmmaker in the film did not understand what they were capable of either, because they could literally do anything. Just like have these glowing things under someone's jacket throughout the film that you don't even really see until the climax of the film, when they come out and you're like, oh shit, these things are amazing. And you know, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
it
taking.
becomes such an over-the-top spectacle that like I couldn't even tell what was happening, and whatever, like just fucking monsters. It was like Godzilla versus Kong, like just like sucking souls out of, like, I literally couldn't even tell what the humans were doing while they were hanging on to this thing. And
I've said it so many times, and I don't want to do this. Like, I really don't want to sit here and shit all over them, because I love it. Like, I truly love it. I've fallen in love with this cinematic universe. I've fallen in love with Marvel. I've fallen in love with comic book films. Like, so I'm not just some asshole up here trying to like to give trash takes.
Yeah.
For
trash takes, which is what we do. But come on,
to get people to click and watch this or whatever. Like, I couldn't be farther from the truth. But this is what I hate. This is what kept me so far from these films for so long, for these types of films. When things don't make sense, when I don't understand anything about what these rings do, it's hard for me to invest in the drama that these rings create. When that final move that he does to to put them inside the thing and have them explode, like, how do I know? Like, how am I like, oh shit, it's happening. He's doing the thing.
What's the thing?
Like, what? Like, I have no fucking clue. I have no clue. Why in the world, when shit like this bothers me so much, when they have the clearly color-coded red versus blue fight in that third act or whatever, and they're fighting each other, but then all of a sudden the red team stops and goes, "Oh, your blue stuff won't hurt those people. Only our stuff will." Why? What? But they're hurting you, so it can hurt. So it's a rock paper scissors situation. Only rock beats scissors, but paper can't beat. You know what I'm saying? Like scissors. Like what do we? Why? Why does any of the? None of this makes sense. None of it. Like I can't. So I can't emotionally invest in this if I don't. Oh, those weapons are good for that situation, but not good for this situation. Why? Why? I get caught up in that shit when you just, on a dime, pull these switches, and it happens throughout the whole film. Like just dumb shit like that, where I'm just like, I can't follow along emotionally if I have to figure out what the hell's going on constantly. If you're not explaining it in a meaningful way or showing it in a meaningful way, it drives me bonkers.
Yeah, totally. And the stuff that is there to try to ground the film, you know, all the flashbacks and stuff. There were so many goddamn flashbacks.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly was like, that was my laugh as I was watching the film, was like, take a drink every time it flashes back, because there's 17 climaxes to this film, and at every climax, it pauses to go to another flashback to explain shit that I had already assumed. It's like, I assumed that she was murdered for the dad's sins and the son's, like all that stuff, and it's like, even a film like Black Widow, which is not a great film, but we commended a lot of its. What's that?
It's better than this.
It is better than this.
It's much better. To me, it's much better than this film.
Well, we commended that film for like the character development, like some of those longer periods of conversation in the middle of that film, where the family was talking separately and different characters.
Yep.
But the reason we commended that film was because, in my opinion, it was not so on the nose, and it was more like these people are having realistic conversations that are revealing stuff about their character without them having to like be expository and just tell you about their character. This film had, like, it dragged for me, which is rare for a Marvel movie. I feel like in that, the middle second act dragged, because it was just going to flashbacks where it was like, I get it. He loves his mom. I get it. The dad tried to be a good guy. And it's like, none of that is fresh or original or interesting in any way. It's just, let's have a scene where the sound drops out and there's just, you know, the music drops out and it's just quiet conversations about like, I love you, Mom. I love you too, son. You'll be brave. You can be like,
it's inside you the whole time.
Yeah. And then to your other point that you said earlier, as they're walking along and they get to that magical world with Michelle Yeoh, who I love. But just like, it's like every time they got someplace, somebody is going to explain to you what this is.
Yeah.
And that happens, like you said, 5, 6, 7 times. Yeah. And that's like most of the film that's not action.
Yeah. It's
just like, well, we're at this new place. Let me tell you why we're here. And, but they don't give you rules or anything. It's just
explaining, like, just giving you some general context in verbal fashion to be like why this is happening or why this is important. It's just oh god, I don't understand.
It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie.
It's disappointing. It's disappointing because I think they're taking their audience for granted. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. I don't like the direction that they're headed. I'm nervous about the Eternals. I'm nervous about. I think that film is going to fall the same way because we've never heard of these people either.
We'll get to that, but Chloe Zhao is if nothing else a talented and original filmmaker. So I have hope for that. This young man, Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed this film, I know nothing about. I saw his last film, which was Just Mercy, with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx, which I thought was a totally good, solid film. I hadn't heard of any of his other stuff, but I'm not ready to. You know, she is more accomplished, and I think I'm interested. But this like, no disrespect to that man, but this is not a well-made movie. It's not well directed.
Yeah, it's a poorly told story, in my opinion. It's just a poorly told story with a lot of good pieces, But maybe with a better director, I don't know. Maybe without 6 writers, 7 credited writers, like maybe it's just too many cooks that just were jamming shit in. And yeah, there's just a lot. I couldn't emotionally invest in it, and I was trying.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it.
Like I said, I love kung fu movies. I really like Marvel films. I have a history with both of these things. I want to love this movie.
Yeah.
But even I, as someone who loves both of those things, knows enough to know this is horrible.
Yeah.
So let's lead, because we know more than critics, apparently. 92%. Rave reviews. And so let's get to this subject. Let's get it out of the way. Keith, explain.
Here.
I'll say this. It's telling that as I read the little blurbs on Rotten Tomatoes of all the top critics, 1 out of every 4 mentions great to see this level of representation.
True.
I agree. 5,000%.
I agree.
2,000,000%.
Yep.
I love it. There's nothing negative about that.
Nope.
It's a film with basically an entire Asian cast. It's great. All this stuff should have been happening a long time ago.
Yep.
That, in of itself, does not mean it's a good movie,
Doesn't.
or that you should be afraid to say it's a bad movie, lest you be perceived to be some kind of
Big
whatever people are afraid of being perceived, or racist, or not
prejudice.
accepting,
Prejudice
or
in some way. Prejudice in some way.
you can celebrate the representation while criticizing the art, because it's not good art. It's just not.
Made the movie, that's fantastic. Should we have more of these movies? Absolutely. In terms of representation, of course. We should have every version of every walk of life should have the opportunity, the same opportunities to have their stories told. 1,000%. That doesn't make them good. But the fact that they're being told doesn't make it good. Yeah. Objectively, we collectively, the audience, has the right to like or dislike based on the content that we're seeing.
Just on sheer volume, white people make a shit ton of horrible films, all right? Like,
I'm responsible for most of them.
Yeah, Keith has made some of the worst movies you've ever seen. Some of the performances were pretty solid.
And I make so many people happy. I do it all the time. I'm just so good at it.
So I'm sure we'll come back to awfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit of positivity.
Okay. What did you like about it?
I liked most of the performances. I thought most of the performances were good. Simu Liu, I apologize if I'm butchering that gentleman's name, the star. I thought he was good. I was like ready to not like him because I always judge martial arts leads very harshly because I'm a big Jackie Chan guy and I want everybody to be Jackie Chan. Love Bruce Lee. Hate everyone else. Love Tony Jaa a little bit. I like Jet Li for a minute. Anyways, I'm ready to hate everybody because I'm just like, I bet he's not good at this and he's a poser. I thought he was good. I bought him as a badass. I bought him as a martial artist. I thought there were shots with computers, you can probably do anything now, but there were shots within fight scenes that I thought it was him. He moved very believably, very physically accurate and precise, and I liked him. I judge martial arts fighters in movies more harshly probably than most, and I liked him. I thought he was charismatic and likable and all that stuff.
I agree. I thought I really enjoyed him, to be honest with you. Like I'm pumped that he is someone to show up now. Like I'm like that he's on the roster. Yeah. Like I'm pumped to see him like in this team. I think he adds something different. I think his fighting style, I guess, or whatever. Like I enjoyed the fight scenes a lot, like the hand-to-hand stuff, not the dragon fighting stuff, but like the hand-to-hand stuff. I thought was cool. Like I really liked that bus scene was great, and I think the thing on the building was a little too long, but I liked a lot of that stuff when he's weaving in and out of stuff, and
yeah,
I thought that was cool. I thought, and on top of it, I think his demeanor is great. I think he's got a cool confidence, but like with some humility. Like he's not
Yep.
like a Tony Stark. Like I think it's a nice. He's confident but humble, and I think that's awesome. Like and a little bit charismatic. Like he's a great
Yeah.
hero. He's someone you want to root for, in my opinion. In terms of performances, I thought everybody was pretty good. I didn't have a problem with anybody.
Yeah, I liked everything you just said, especially like I felt that same way. I'm excited to see him as a part of this team. But there's a little catch to that. I don't have strong feelings about Awkwafina, so I know maybe I mentioned to you that
I thought you didn't.
I'm not
I
the
thought you
biggest
weren't
fan
pumped
of
about.
her.
Yeah, I thought you weren't a fan.
But like, I mean, it's not like she just has a very specific bit, and it's not my exact cup of tea. And I can handle her in this. I haven't seen her in much because I don't watch a lot of stuff that she's in. But like, I can handle her in this, and I thought she was like fine. But then like, the movie ends, and she's like now going on the mission with him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh no. So like, so now in like every Marvel film for the next tier or phase or whatever, the Awkwafina's gonna pop up to like be like this awkward person that's like trying to be comedic, you know. That takes a little steam out of like my excitement for Shang-Chi to show up.
Well,
and
hopefully she's not just like always there. Hopefully, because
I feel like she's gonna be there. Why did she need to go with him at the end?
because
what does Wong
she'll
need
be
with
in
her?
the
She
sequel.
doesn't do anything.
She'll be in the sequel to this film, but hopefully not. Hopefully she's a smaller character because she's not a superhero. Like she offers nothing.
Well, I mean, she saved the fucking day. 'Cause
I mean,
she
you could see
been
that
shooting
coming.
a bow for 3 hours and was able to kill the dragon,
I know.
the soul sucker.
I know. Then the line of dialogue right before that just made me so angry too. I mean, you could see it coming a mile away. You could see it coming a mile away that she's going to save the day or have a really, really important moment. That was obvious. But then the fact that the guy is like, you have to go for the throat. We should take these arrows and aim for the throat specifically because that's the key.
And it was almost like ADR after the fact. Like it sounded a little different. Like it was just like you know, like
It's like, God,
please, we need to shoot the throat to stop him from sucking the
It
soul.
was like so specific to like, this is the goal right now. We must take this arrow and put it in this man's throat. It's like, guys.
Yeah.
It was
So
sick.
not thrilled that Awkwafina will be turning up in the future. It doesn't make any sense. I liked that gentleman who got his soul sucked right after that, the old dude. I'm a big fan of that guy's. His name is Yuen, and that actor, and he is in a ton of stuff over the years. Kung Fu Hustle, which is a really entertaining film from I don't know, a decade plus ago, and he's one of the stars along with Michelle Yeoh, who's the older woman, the aunt, in that magical land. They are in Super Cop with Jackie Chan, which is my favorite kind of mid to latter stage Jackie Chan film. Watch Super Cop if you haven't seen it. It's fucking awesome. And so
I
I
like
was
the
happy to see him.
tuxedo.
It's not the end thing today to give compliments to a young lady, but I just gotta let you know that you got a nice rack.
With
Yeah,
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
That's like later Jackie Chan, and that's bad.
And I think
not
that's
good.
I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt in any film, I'm in.
You got a nice rack.
The tuxedo was so bad.
Yeah, it's awful. I'm sorry.
And I'm
It's awful.
literally the biggest Jackie Chan fan on earth.
And I'm the biggest
have-
Jennifer Love Hewitt fan, so
yeah. I have my Project A VHS right here. Like might be my favorite Jackie movie. Anyways, happy to see those two. I kind of wanted, so the actor who plays the father, Tony Leung, did a great job. Like I think that guy did really good. It's probably the most engaging performance of the film. I kind of wanted that to be Jackie Chan the whole time because they almost have a very similar look. And I would love to see Jackie into the Marvel universe.
yeah. Why would they not? Or is he just too old at this point to?
I don't know. I mean, Jackie's older. He's might be almost 70, but he's still making movies and looks good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that could have been Jackie, and then it could have been a cool reunion for the 3 stars of Super Cop. But this guy did great. So he was. I can't
Yeah,
complain.
he was
but I
great.
wish it
Everybody
someone
was
else.
great. I thought the mom was great. I really
Yeah.
liked everybody's performance.
Okay, something I want to talk about. Performance is mostly pretty good. I don't know. No one cares. I'm just like the. So it's a Marvel film. So of course, Ev, you idiot, you say. But like, there's just so much CGI. There's just so much.
Yeah, we
And,
can't
like,
have this conversation.
Here's the thing.
I can't do it. Can't have this conversation
Okay,
with you.
just briefly, because this is a new fold.
I don't want it.
Okay, the third act is totally fucked. It's a nightmare. You can't even tell what's happening. It's all on a computer screen. The bus fight, the Muni fight, which is great. It's exciting. I was excited.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun. But then he started doing crazier shit as the fight goes on. He's like flipping around outside of the Muni and all that stuff. And it's obviously all computerized. If that was Jackie Chan, it'd be real. They would shoot that real. They did. They've shot that real in like 1986, when like all of his best films, the late 80s. So like,
Too much
this
money.
is never
Too
gonna
much
happen.
money.
Are we
We're
never
just-
gonna? We're just.
No, we're never gonna do that
do it?
again. You're never gonna see that again. You're never gonna see it again. It's safety and it's convenience. It's probably cheaper. They're never gonna see it again. Why would they risk it? Why would they?
Because it makes better art.
No, you don't care.
One time, you're Marvel, you're Disney.
They
You
don't
can't just be like,
care.
all right, you know what? We can spend the extra $20 million and get the necessary insurance, and we're gonna shoot a real Muni bus careening down this hill, and we're gonna get an actor who's fucking willing to like do some crazy shit, because this guy is a stuntman first, anyways, just like Jackie Chan. Like, run on the top of a real Muni and grab onto the mirror and swing in. Like, if this is what pisses me off, is Jackie Chan is 70 years old now, and if they had this capability and they were making Marvel comic book films in 1988 that were good, you'd have him in this role, and you'd have these long shots that are completely unaltered of him running on top of a fucking bus and swinging through, and all those long takes that in this movie are super cool. There'd be zero computer. And I want to see that because that's impressive and that's good filmmaking. Never?
Never. No. Why would they? They would like. No one else cares, but no one else cares. Like no one cares, but you.
Do they not? I mean, honestly, that's a real question.
No one cares.
I know, like I'm old guy. Like back in my day, it would have been. And I know that's half of
Do
what
I
we do.
agree
It's like
with
90%
you?
of our
Yes.
shit.
Would I think it would be better too? Would I like more practical effects? 100%. I personally too. But to the masses, these kids who weren't alive in the 80s, like who just don't care. They just like, it's not a they're so used to looking at video games anyway. Like it just doesn't, I just don't think it matters in the final product to the majority of the audience, and it's safer and probably cheaper. Like,
But don't you think that because everyone, kids and everybody, are so used to this watered down, clearly computerized bullshit, that if you did do one that was like, holy shit, that's real, like that would be something to like knock you out of your staring at your phone while you're watching the movie. Like, it stresses me out, man. Like once you can't do it once. I just don't get it. Like even that scaffolding fight. Jackie Chan has done a lot of fights on scaffolding. They're not using computers. Like he's doing just as impressive shit, swinging, jaw-dropping, death-defying, falling off. People are getting mortally wounded.
they just don't want people to die. Like it's time. It's time. I'm sure it's just easier to be like, okay, stand here, kind of throw a punch or two or whatever, and we'll do the rest. Okay, moving on. Like they probably made this movie in like 3 days. I don't know. Like they just like they just bang it out.
Okay, finally, let's get to the best part of the movie. Do you know what the best part of the movie is? Easily, hands down.
If you say this, you go ahead. I'm gonna be pissed if you say my least favorite part of this film. Go ahead.
It's Ben Kingsley.
It's the worst part of this film.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it was so fucking stupid. It was so stupid. It was so stupid. Why was Ben
The
Kingsley?
movie is awful, Keith. Ben Kingsley is there to make you genuinely laugh for 15 minutes.
I can give you a quick preview if you like. Nuncle, nuncle, nuncle.
Thank you, Trevor. I think we're okay.
I wish they cut him
serious?
from the film. I wish they cut him from the film.
You're out of your mind.
I wish they cut
I'm
him from the
offended.
film and give me more of what the film is actually about. I don't
You
give
want more
a
flashbacks?
shit.
You want more flashbacks
No,
to him crying?
No. I need more meat to what like if you could, like he was in the film for 20 minutes. Cut that whole shit out and give me more of the magical land that we're going to. Give me more like Oh God, there was like, what did he add? What did that for
Genuine humor. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. Every joke in that film that was not delivered by Ben Kingsley fell flat to me. They tried to be funny throughout,
Yeah.
and almost all of it was genuinely unfunny. And then he came in, and you're like, this movie sucks, because by that point the movie kind of sucked. And then you're like, oh, at least it's Ben Kingsley here, and he's just being goofy and funny.
But there was so much to
when he's on
explain.
screen, I'm at least entertained.
There was so much to explain. There was so much to explain for nothing. For nothing. Like I just don't know what he adds. Like it's a fun thing if he was like a quick cameo. But he became like they talked for like 10 minutes in that like bunker that he was in, and he had to explain his whole fucking reason that he was there, which I still don't really understand how.
Then my dad broke you out.
Exactly.
To kill you.
Exactly.
They were just retconning. They're trying to retcon.
I know, but it
what
still
people
doesn't
didn't
even
like
make sense. Like, it's still just like, what was he, like, who hired him originally? Like, I still don't even know.
The dad.
The dad was originally the person who, like, hired him, but then brought him back to kill him? Like,
Exactly.
so he was in on it the whole time, actually?
Exactly.
Who was?
The dad? The dad was in on the whole...
Yeah, the dad is the real Mandarin.
I
who
know that.
hired Ben Kingsley to portray himself as the Mandarin.
But didn't what's-his-name hire him? With the other guy? I forget his name.
What's his name?
The villain in the third Iron Man.
Guy Pearce?
Yeah.
I don't know, Keith. You're asking too many questions.
This is the point. Like it just doesn't. It just didn't. It just seemed like a waste of time.
Exactly.
We're not even getting into all the things that don't make sense, like all the story things that like the dad even sends assassins to kill his kids in the first place, even though he's trying to bring them to him. Like that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's all this stuff. It's like they get to that fight club and it's like, well, you have to fight, and he's just like, okay. Like
We just lost a fight at the last minute, so you get the next slot.
like every scene is just like, what?
Yeah,
What?
like none
What
of it. It just happens. The film just happens. Film just happens. It's so stupid.
If you think this is a good movie, like, tell us why, please.
Please, I mean that. I agree.
'Cause again, I'm gonna end it. on
That's
this.
about the
If you-
film.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
not about
rooted in
enjoyability.
what this film is doing. Like,
Yes.
not because you like the character or whatever,
Yes.
like some bias.
Not
that you
about
may
the
have.
characters, not about the comic book history,
Yep.
not about even the enjoyability of scenes or the movie as a whole, but as a film, as a structure, as a piece of art
Yeah.
that we know, film.
What
You
makes
cannot tell me that this is a well-constructed film. It's just not. That is objective. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
I'm not sorry either, you fucking asshole.